Hello, everyone, and welcome to this podcast. It is the next in a series giving a behind the scenes view of a new feature film. You would only have clicked on this link if you already knew a bit about the project, The Adventures of Sleepy the Magical Bear, the movie. So today we should learn a lot about one of the people who made it what it is, the composer of most of the music, Alexis Croft, Lec. Hello, Lec, and many thanks for taking part in this podcast series.
It's great to be here. Thank you very much.
How did you get involved in Sleepy?
It would seem like most people, I got the nod from David. We were all in lockdown. We were all sort of twitching around, wondering what to do. And I was on a website, which I'm part of, called Mandy, and a job came up looking for a composer for a film. And I thought, yep, let's just see what happens with that. And I put in some demo bits of music. I think a couple of days went by and he called me back and said, I really like what you do. Would you like to be a part of the film? And I just said, yeah, sounds great. Let's do it. Because, we were all in lockdown and things had gone terribly wrong. I had been writing music mostly for kind of corporate shows, doing product launch music and background music for the corporate world. I hadn't really done much film composition. I'd done a couple of other small films, some shorts and things. So this was a really good opportunity to actually do a full-length feature. So I said, yeah, let's go. Let's give it a go.
Splendid. Right. How did you approach composing music for characters in a film?
That I don't have a problem with because, and it sounds funny and people will laugh, but I grew up listening to the Wombles in the early 1970s. And there were many characters there. And Mike Batt, who was the composer and arranger, did a whole triple box set album, which I had in 1973. And every character had their own style of song. And so I knew about characterization from a very early age. And I thought, well, that can't be so difficult. Let's look at what we've got here. We've got characters. And so each character is going to have maybe a theme. And then we're going to put all those little themes together, get some variations together, make a main theme, and go on from there. Now, it didn't actually transpire that was the actual case because we don't have actual themes for actual characters in this film. But that's how I began the whole thing. I sort of thought, yeah, we've got these characters. Let's see. Jenny's always going to be kind of fun, happy, and innocent, and other characters are going to be a bit more balmy, and other ones maybe a bit more sort of serious or even evil, like those two characters that have stolen the friends in the later film. Yeah, so yeah, that's how it kind of starts.
It's marvelous. I was just listening to an interview with Murray Gold, who, when asked that question, sort of, where did he get the idea of pieces of music set different for different characters? And he said Wagner, which I thought was an excellent answer.
Well, no, the Wombles, they're both W's.
There you go. Yes, of course. I've heard it said that music, like sound in general, can make or break a film. If it's noticed, it could be for all the wrong reasons. But if it becomes part of the narrative, it's a character in its own right. How do you match the characterization of your music to the style of the film?
Right. And just thought, let's just write some little mini pieces of music that suit this scene well and make sure that they are the sort of scene that can be adapted into another scene and into another one that may have already happened or might still happen. So I had to take a very kind of global and holistic approach to any of the themes that I wrote. So that was quite complicated.
How did you get the music to be the same length as the video, or was it the other way around?
Well, that's quite interesting. If you listen to a conversation in a script without any music at all, you'll discover that the characters in that script actually start speaking at about the same speed. Doesn't matter if it's fast or slow, depending on the actual narrative. They will actually fall into a human beat, and you can actually start tapping to that beat. So you can actually start getting a beat to minute. So if someone's like speaking quite quickly like this, and they're having an argument, maybe this, you can do this with your fingers, and that is your timing. You put that into bars, and now you can say, well, I can do 16 bars at this BPM, and it's going to be exactly the right length. And it's absolutely extraordinary. If people are having a really complicated and sad sort of conversation at this sort of level, It's bum 2 3 3 2 3 4 2 3, and you can put it into a different time signature. You can put it into different things, but you simply follow how the people are speaking, and then you can think, wow, the words they are using fall into both a time signature and a key signature, and it's quite interesting. And then you can then say, right, generally you're speaking about 16 or 32 bars of music, but you take the speed of the conversation and use that to actually get the timing of your music together, which works really, really well on the first edit of the video. If the video then gets changed, which it did several times, so then we had some interesting editing issues after that.
And how was the music recorded?
In my room here, I have a small studio set up. So I have keyboards, I have live guitars and drums, that sort of it. So I'm a sort of a self-musician, and I generally start playing themes on the piano. And then when I start transposing that into the orchestral scores, I use samples, orchestral samples. So I've got a huge array of samples from Spitfire Audio, which are absolutely fantastic. And they have every single instrument from the orchestra that you can think about, and not just the sound of the instrument. So if you take a violin, you don't just play the sound of a violin. It's how is that violin being played? Is it being played aggressively, softly? I can play it with the back of the bow. I can pluck it. I can just use the harmonics. So I've got an enormous scope of types of sounds to use, and then a plethora of other types of affected music, affected and affected. And so I record the whole thing into my computer. I use Logic, and I run it all together. And depending on the nature of the scene, it can be a massive, big orchestral sort of number, like a sort of a Star Warsy number, or it might just be a little tiny plinky on the piano. And it all just depends. And this goes back to what you were saying about how music can affect film. You could quite literally have a person walking towards you from 50 yards away, and they could be walking across a bridge, just staring straight into camera. And without any music at all, you'd think one thing about the film. You may think it's very noir and just think, oh, this is interesting. You could then write some Benny Hill music over the top of it, and the whole scene, your brain sees it totally differently, because you're expecting laughter, you're expecting him to slip up on a banana skin, you're expecting stuff. Or you could put in some really sad music, as though he's had a dreadful day and his wife's just left him, blah, 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 blah. Music can affect any scene, any way, anyhow, and it is actually really powerful. I mean, it can totally change the vibe of a movie completely, which is why it's really important to have deep discussions with the director as to actually what they consider the scene to be, because you could be writing a piece of music and it might be the best, most heartbreaking piece of music in the world, and the director comes back and says, yeah, but it's not what I want. I wanted this to be more mysterious, more this, that, or the other. And you're absolutely heartbroken for a while, thinking, but that was fabulous. It did everything. And he goes, yeah, but it's not what I want. And so you have to be able to put it all aside and start again and think, okay, so the director wants this to be a little bit more this or a little bit more that, and write to how he wants it.
Your main day job is a lighting designer for live events. That must have its own ups and downs. Apparently, you're also releasing a hopefully #1 music video or something for homeless charities.
Yeah. So a lot of this year, I have been working on a Christmas single. And I call it my #1 single because A, it's my first single, and B, I want it to be a #1 single. So I think if I keep saying it's a #1 single, it's going to be. I'm putting it out into the universe, and it's going to be a #1 single. It's being released early November. I think that's when all the Christmas songs start coming out. It's a really rocky, poppy song. So it's a proper 1970s kind of Wizard, Slade, one of those ones that you can jump up and down to on the dance floor. I did a video for it in a steampunk style. It's just a tremendously good, fun song. I had spent many years doing the lighting for office parties in various venues, hotels and stuff. And you see all these people jumping up and down on the dance floor to these amazing Christmas songs. And I just sat there and thought, I'll do one of those. I can do one of those. They're not actually difficult to write. They're just difficult to get out there and get the people interested. So I've been crafting this thing mostly all year. I think I began it in January. So I've been singing Christmas songs to myself all year. It's been quite something. And yeah, it comes out in November, and I'm hoping it's going to be a big hit. It's also a partly raising money for charity as well. So there's an element of the charity in it, which is going to be nice. So if I can raise some money for charity, that'd be good. I'm raising it for homeless people. It was sort of a bucket list thing for me to do. I've grown up with music all the time, all my life, and I've really enjoyed writing film music, and I still want to do more of those. But I've always wanted to write a Christmas song, and I don't know why. I love Christmas songs. I really do. And I wanted to write one that was such an earworm that nobody would ever forget it again. And we shall see. We shall see. It's been amazing fun. I mean, it has been truly sensationally great fun. It's really pushed me to my limits.
Well, thank you very much. That's been absolutely fascinating.
Good. It's been absolutely lovely. And thank you too.
Many thanks.